Kids, welcome to the Far Out Podcast, the day after the big game edition. Yes, there was a game that is big. It was both super and played in a bowl type of arena, if you don't know. And you might be thinking, why is Jim not referring to this event by its proper title? Well, faithful listener, I found out that the NFL actually has a copyright against the title used for their big game that is both super and held in a bowl type of arena. And so when corporations and companies want to make advertisements for said game, they can't use the actual title, otherwise they could get hit with a copyright thing or they'll have to pay the NFL a certain amount of money to use their official title. And I certainly don't want to go through any of that fiasco because I already went through some of that with YouTube, and I'll talk about that in a minute. I have no idea if this same rule applies to me or to anything uploaded via YouTube. I'm sure it doesn't. I'm just a dude blasting into a mic that's, I got in my kitchen here on my podcast. But it brings up a funny point because if you remember, in one of the previous episodes of the Far Out podcast, I talked about how I had to go through this whole fiasco regarding YouTube and getting hit with a copyright, thing against me because kids, if you don't know, whenever you upload to YouTube or as your video is being processed, YouTube will put it through some kind of filtration system, probably linked to an algorithm that scans it for copywritten stuff that you might have in there, whether that's music, clip from movies, so on and so forth. And so anyway, uh, as your video is being processed, YouTube will scan it and they'll give you one of three responses. They'll say, hey, we scanned it. We found no copywritten content. We deem this to be all original. You can go on your merry way and upload. B, hey, we detected copywritten stuff in your upload, but it's not an issue because in the way you're using it and the way you've incorporated your own commentary with it, we determined that this content falls under fair use. So you can go on your way. That's how certain accounts on YouTube will upload full trailers and full clips and movies and so on and so forth. Or C, YouTube will look at your upload and they'll say, hey, we found copywritten stuff and this is a big no-no. This breaks the rules. You either have to A, take that portion of your upload out, or B, get rid of the upload entirely. And this is where HBO came in because they were like, you can't upload stuff with Bill Maher in it. This is our TV show. He's our guy. And I was like, are you sure? And HBO said yes. And then YouTube said, hey, you need to take a hike. And so then I was like, I just want to upload my podcast. But then I had to go and re-edit that episode after a lengthy dispute process with both YouTube and HBO, which resulted in the edited version of the podcast episode you can now find, on the YouTube channel. But anyway, just a couple of days ago, I got another notice from YouTube that there was a copyright flag against one of my former episodes. It's not a strike. It doesn't require me to re-edit it, take it out, or delete the episode. It was just saying, hey, upon reevaluation for some reason, we found some stuff in here that is going to issue a flag, a copyright flag, and this flag means that your video cannot be searchable on YouTube in two different territories. And I went, oh my gosh! I went, this is terrible. I'm going to go to YouTube jail, and this is awful. I need to get the details on this, and so I go into the email, and I see it has to pertain with episode 5 of the Far Out podcast titled Look Up. That was the episode where I talked about the Superman trailer. And in that episode of the podcast, I included a chunk of that trailer for context. And with that clip came the music from the trailer. And so the music in question got this copyright flag, which I find to be silly because when I uploaded that episode in question, when I uploaded episode 5, the same filtration process that I just described to you, that episode went through it all. And YouTube said, we found nothing wrong with it. You're completely good. Go on your merry way. Now, more than a month later, YouTube was like, hey, we re-watched this episode. It was pretty good, but this thing's an issue. And so I got this flag. And now, because of the flag, episode 5 of the Far Out podcast will not be searchable in the countries Russia and Belarus. And maybe I'm making something out of nothing, or perhaps I'm addressing an elephant in the room, so to speak, because I find it just a little interesting that Russia is one of the countries in question that take issue with this, because, I'm in the US, and the US and Russia have a turbulent relationship at best. And it had to do with the Superman trailer, and one of the monikers or taglines used to define the character Superman is that he is a comic book character. He's a superhero that stands for truth, justice, and the American way. Hmm. I'm not saying anything, but just make of that what you will, but no, I'm sure it was nothing that serious. I have no idea why this happened now, but I do find it somewhat flattering that perhaps Russia watched that episode of the podcast and went, you know what, this guy's pretty good, but he's a little too patriotic in episode 5. That Superman character, that's too much like the red, white, and blue. That suit is red, white, and yellow. We can't have this commentary. So yeah, episode 5 will not be searchable uh, in the countries of Russia and Belarus, and I find that kind of funny, but also flattering. I have no idea what I did to upset Belarus, but you know, I guess that's just how the cookie crumbles. So, what are you gonna do? Anyway, moving on with the superb owl or the big game. I'm just gonna call it the Super Bowl because, I mean, I have no idea why they would get mad at me for the capacity that I'm in. It's not like I'm this huge corporation and whatnot. I have dreams to be big, dang it, but I understand I'm nowhere big right now. But we'll cross that bridge when we burn it. But yeah, when it comes to the Super Bowl, lots of people don't really care for the football itself. A lot of people watch it just for the trailers and for the cool commercials, and there's nothing wrong with that because in this year's Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles, I had really no stake in the game, and so I was there more or less just for the commercial breaks and the trailers. And there were some very good commercials, but there were also some very interesting movie trailers. And that's what I want to talk about specifically in this episode of the podcast. And I don't know if this trailer technically played during the Super Bowl. I think it was during the pregame because I'm sure it was cheaper and stuff. By the way, if you want a little peek behind the curtain, I read online that for a 30-second Super Bowl spot, for 30 seconds was $8 million. So for all these companies and all these movie studios that paid for trailers and commercial times, if you saw that Jurassic World trailer during the Super Bowl, that 30-second spot costed them $8 million. So just giving you a little bit of context there. But anyway, pertaining to this first one here, this has to do with Captain America Brave New World. Technically, the fourth Captain America movie, even though it has a different actor in the titular role. They had a little bit of a trailer, a commercial before the big game, and this was more or less just announcing that tickets are now available because at the time of this recording, the film in question comes out, I believe, on Valentine's Day, that Friday, I think. Yeah, and so it's just a few days away. And I liked the look of the film. Look, I'm already in the bag for this stuff. Like, I love superhero stuff. I love Marvel. I love DC. And so it's not like this little final TV spot moved the needle for me in any way. But I'll say this, despite me being the big fan that I am, you know, this movie in question, I'm not all that excited for it. I'm looking forward to it, and I'll see it. I'm planning to have a good time. I'm taking my mom to the movies. We're gonna see it together. But I'm not going crazy over Captain America 4, which is, nutty to say, but it's just kind of how I feel. Whereas, like, if you were to compare that to my hype levels for Superman coming out this July, I'm over the moon. In regards to Superman, I'm going to see that movie at least twice in theaters. At a bare minimum, it's at least twice because I need to confirm my opinions on that movie. So if I walk out of Superman on the first screening and I loved it, I got to see it again to see if that praise holds. Or if I hate it on the first go around, I got to see if that negativity holds on the second viewing. But with Captain America 4, with Brave New World, whether I love it or hate it, this might just be a one and done for me, which again, I'm a super fan. Like I have, I read the comics and like I follow this stuff and, like I can't wait, but like, yeah, I'm not overly excited for this entry in the Marvel Universe. However, I like the spot that they did provide. I thought it was good. I thought it showed some interesting action. I presented Captain America Sam Wilson. It presented him. I thought as a bit arrogant, a little on the arrogant side of things, but whatever. It was 30 seconds. It was a big splashy final announcement saying this movie is on the way in a big bad way. So yeah, Captain America 4. It comes out very soon. Again, at the time of this recording, I believe it launches on Valentine's Day. So yeah, Captain America 4 is on the way, and I'm looking forward to it. And I will certainly do a review of the film on another episode of the podcast. But yeah, they had a present at the Super Bowl. It wasn't all that bad. Wasn't great, but wasn't bad either. But anyway, moving on. Let's see. What were some other trailers that I wanted to talk about? Oh, yes, there was. Keeping with Marvel as well, they had a spot for a film called The Thunderbolts, which, in very simple terms, is kind of like Marvel's answer to the Suicide Squad. If you think of DC, they have the Suicide Squad, which has Harley Quinn. Well, it has a rotating, you know, cast of characters, but in previous iterations, it's had Harley Quinn, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, Polka Dot Man, the Weasel. Um, who else was there? Um, Crocodile Man, Katana, I believe is her name. So anyway, the Suicide Squad is this band of misfits, this band of villains, so to speak, or anti-heroes who, in the comics, they're sometimes brought together to bring down when like a Justice Leaguer goes rogue. So like in some iterations of Suicide Squad, Superman goes bad and they assemble a team of bad guys who are expendable to go take down Superman, so on and so forth. Well, anyway, it appears that Marvel is doing their version of that with the Thunderbolts because this team up is primarily made up of kind of anti-heroes and or villains and lesser known people because these are all from, well, not all, but most of them primarily got their bread and butter in the TV world and on the Disney Plus, the Disney Plus side of things. Of course, you have people like the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, who cut his teeth in films and then transitioned into Disney Plus. But you also have people like let's see who else is there. Discount Captain America, what's his name? U.S. Agent, which was introduced in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series on Disney Plus, and so they're kind of bringing together this list of semi A-listers, but mostly B-listers and sadly some C-listers. And it appears that in the Marvel universe, it's going to be this hodgepodge team of quote unquote heroes or superpowered people because the Avengers are not available, and there appears to be this big threat, a la a Superman, that the Thunderbolts have to take down. And from the Super Bowl spot and from the trailer that was later released, it appears that there's this character coming into the fold known as the Sentry or just Sentry, who is quite honestly a lot like Superman in that he can fly and he's invulnerable. But in terms of how this movie's going to present the character of Sentry, I think in the movie he's going to have a split personality in the sense that one minute he can be good, the next he can be bad, and the Thunderbolts are called to essentially rein him in. And I thought the Super Bowl spot, I thought the little 30-second commercial was fine. I actually have not seen the full trailer that they released online because at the end of the Super Bowl spot, it says full trailer online now. I have not watched the new full trailer because one, I don't want the film spoiled for me, and I've heard online that this trailer, while good, gives away a lot of the meat for this movie, but also much like Captain America 4, I hate to say it, but Marvel's kind of on a dry spell for me right now. I'm really not looking forward to this movie. I'm gonna see it. It might be fun. Again, my mom and we're gonna go see it together. But much like Captain America 4, I think I'm only gonna see Thunderbolts one time. Unless it blows my socks off and I leave that door open. But like again, Superman, guaranteed two viewings, but Cap 4 and Thunderbolts, you're only gonna get one unless you blow me away here. So I don't know. I mean, I thought again, I like seeing the Winter Soldier. I like seeing Red Guardian. I like seeing Taskmaster, even though their rendition of that character is asinine. But whatever. I mean, she's fine. She's fine. I just thought that she could have been done better. And then you have Julia Louis Dreyfus playing not Elaine, but I'll always know her as Elaine from Seinfeld. Looks like she's the one assembling this team of anti-heroes, and it could be good. It could be really good. So yeah, I don't know. The Thunderbolts. This did not blow me away, but it did kind of remind me that this film is coming out, and perhaps this is all it really needs to do is just be a reminder for the film to come out. So yeah, Thunderbolts. Looking forward to it, but not overly excited. Anyway, moving on with further Super Bowl trailers. Jurassic Park 7 or Jurassic World 4, however you want to categorize it. Big dinosaur monster movie, again. Uh, they're doing another installment in the Jurassic franchise. Uh, I don't know how much longer they can pull the taffy on this. They will for forever because they keep making billions of dollars, billion with an illion. But yeah, I mean, Jurassic Park, what can I say? It's incredible. Jurassic World, I thought also was incredible, but otherwise, these movies are pretty hit and miss. So, really, if you think about it, at least for myself, the movies of this series that I've liked have been the first one, so one, and then four, and then two, eh, it was okay. Three, ugh, a little less than okay. Four, like I said, incredible. Five, I did not like one bit, and then six, I tolerated. I think it was better than I remember, but it didn't leave a lasting impression. Well, anyway, they got another Jurassic World movie coming out, Jurassic World Rebirth, because sure, and yes, it's Jurassic Park 7, and it really looks like more or less the same. Humans go to some part of the island, some part of the Jurassic Park island that the dinosaurs were on. They have to get some dinosaur blood to make some cure for the whatever disease. And oh, would you look at that? They got out. Now they're chasing us, and bruh, we don't want to get eaten. Better run fast. And it's like whatever. But despite me saying all that, will I be seated for Jurassic Park 7? Will I go to the theaters again for the same movie? You betcha. Okay, you bet I will. I will be there opening day, popcorn in hand, soda in the other. Because Jurassic Park is a lot like the Fast and Furious. It's the same movie over and over again. Sometimes they're more crazy than the last ones. A lot of them are repetitive, but damn, they're fun. They're just roller coaster rides. That's all they are. And so yeah, Jurassic World Rebirth, Jurassic Park 7. I will be there opening day, but your trailer did not wow me, did not show me anything I haven't seen before. But you know what? Uh, you know, the same flavor of ice cream over and over again, it isn't too bad. Was that a good analogy? I don't know, but we're gonna move on anyway. Getting out of dinosaurs, but moving now into similarly large reptiles, dragons. We're gonna talk about dragons because there is a live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon coming out. And where the Jurassic World trailer kind of fell on its face for me, the How to Train Your Dragon one did not. This one I thought was quite good. Now, here's the thing is that very similarly to how I talked about Jurassic Park, I feel that How to Train Your Dragon, the remake, is going to give me a lot of similar beats. I feel it's going to be the same thing over and over again. I've heard that the live action remake of How to Train Your Dragon is quite literally shot for shot, beat for beat of the animated version, very much doing what Disney has done with their live action remakes. Are there some liberties taken with those remakes that Disney do? Sure, sure. But a big complaint is that why would I see the same movie I've already seen before? I own the animated version. I have it on VHS. I have it on a DVD. It's on Disney Plus. Why would I go to the theaters to watch one that has quote unquote better graphics? I don't know. Uh, I haven't seen all the Disney remakes. Some of them I have. Aladdin, awesome. Beauty and the Beast, awesome. That might have been it. I've heard Cinderella's really good, but otherwise I haven't seen any other ones. But How to Train Your Dragon, Look, that film series, the animated film series, phenomenal, phenomenal. I have no shame in this. That third How to Train Your Dragon movie, that one made me cry. In fact, I think one did too. I think the first one did. Funny enough, I think all three did. I think I got misty-eyed during all three. I know for a fact I shed tears during three, but I think one and two both made my eyes glassy. I remember seeing the first one in theaters. I remember, back in my day, when we were all learning how to train dragons and so on and so forth. I mean, that movie blew me away, and then I discovered two and three very late in life. But they're phenomenal movies, and so the fact that this live action remake could literally be an updated version, update quotes on update, an updated version of the first one, just a rendition with a different art style. Could it be repetitive? Sure. Will I be there? Absolutely. If this live action remake can pull on the same heartstrings that the original animated film did, then it's going to be worth it. It's going to be absolutely worth it. That animated film is incredible. I truly believe that. I think whether you're a kid, a teen, or an adult, you can get into those movies, and I think you should. And I very much am looking forward to this live action retelling of that story because I just think it's just that good. So yeah, the live action How to Train Your Dragon comes out later this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I thought they had a good presentation at the Super Bowl, and yeah, I can't wait for that one. But now we're getting into the real cream of the crop here when it comes to the Super Bowl spots. One I'm really looking forward to this year. Superman is my most anticipated film of the year, but then there are two others that occupy spots two and three, at least right now. First one is Mission Impossible, The Final Reckoning. This is supposedly the last Mission Impossible, or at least perhaps the last one to feature Tom Cruise. Love me some Tom Cruise. Who doesn't? Uh, Top Gun, Mission Impossible, War of the Worlds, Jerry Maguire. Born on the 4th of July. This guy is a legit, bona fide movie star that frankly does not miss, in my opinion. And these Mission Impossible movies are just phenomenal. They're crazy. He is someone who really pushes for authenticity, real stunts, real actions, real consequences. They are a visual spectacle, a visual feast for us film fans. And yes, this is supposedly the last one he's doing, hence the title, The Final Reckoning. And if this is, I know he's going to go out with a bang. Their Super Bowl spot gave us just another glimpse of that, and I can't wait. All these movies are tremendous. I might do a rewatch of the whole series before this comes out, or at least the last three, because Ghost Protocol, Rogue Nation, and Fallout are where I really got into the series, and they're all tremendous movies. So if this is in fact the last one, I'm gonna run to the theater. I'm probably gonna see this one at least twice. But yeah, Tom Cruise, he entertains completely every time. So I hope it's not the last one, but if it is, if the Final Reckoning is the final installment of the Mission Impossible franchise to feature Tom Cruise, then boy, it looks like we're in for one crazy ride. And speaking of crazy rides, another film I'm really looking forward to, and this also ties in to Mission Impossible, or well, it ties into Tom Cruise, I should say, is the movie simply titled F1, which has to do with Formula One racing. And this features Brad Pitt as a race car driver who appears to be in a sort of Top Gun Maverick type role, where he is the elder, the more seasoned driver, and it appears that he is training the newest generation of drivers. That's at least the tone and the vibe I get from the trailers and the commercials that I've seen thus far. Perhaps I'm, completely off, but that's at least the tone I get, that he is a mentor teaching these kids how to drive, teaching them how to come up in the world of racing. And I draw parallels to this with Top Gun Maverick, with Tom Cruise, because the same guy that made Top Gun Maverick, his name is Joseph Kosinski, the director of Maverick, directed the F1 movie with Brad Pitt. And so, again, I think that very similarly, how in Top Gun Maverick you had Tom Cruise playing Maverick. He is the more seasoned pilot with all the skills. He's training these newer, younger pilots on how to be experts. I think F1 follows suit, and that you have Brad Pitt, who is the more seasoned driver, and he is training younger students on how to be the best drivers they can be. And again, that both of those movies are made by the same director, Joseph Kosinski. And I'm really looking forward to F1. This movie, on a technical level, sounds like an absolute marvel. This is made through Apple, their film studio, and Apple, for them, $1 million is a $20 bill. So they have all the money in the world. And from what I've heard about the behind the scenes production of this, it sounds like they built actual racetracks. They built something very similar to actual F1 cars. It's going to capture real speed, real turns, the whole deal. The way it appears to be shot looks to be authentic. I love the cinematography. I love the overall tone of this movie. And so I'm really looking forward to this one. Uh, Between F1 and Mission Impossible, it's really tough for me to decide which one I'm looking forward to most for 2025. Again, Superman holds the number one spot, but right now Mission Impossible is in the number two spot. But if I start to hear even more good things about F1, it could very easily jump Mission Impossible into that second spot. Because again, I think this is going to be for people who are real film fans and real sports junkies. I think that the way this film is going to be physically presented on screen, I think is going to invoke so much of Top Gun Maverick. Because again, with Maverick, that film was prided on, real planes, real stunts, real G's, real pilots. I would bet the farm that Joseph Kosinski and Apple, they decided we're going to do that again, just with racing. So I bet it's real cars, real speed, real tracks. I'm very much looking forward to this movie, and I can't wait. So yeah, that is my review or my commentary on all the trailers that interested me. There were some other trailers throughout the big game that you know were present. They just didn't interest me. Like there was one for Megan 2, which is about that creepy killer robot doll, whatever. There was one for a movie called Novocaine, which I have no interest in. There was another one for uh, Lilo and Stitch, which, funny enough, as I previously mentioned, it's a live action Disney remake. I have no interest in seeing that. But the ones that I targeted here, Captain America 4, Thunderbolts, Jurassic World, How to Train Your Dragon, Mission Impossible, and F1, those are the movies that I'm really looking forward to, and so I was very happy to see them all present during the Super Bowl. And yeah, I can't wait. They all look to be amazing. Well, minus Captain America and Thunderbolts, and well, really Jurassic Park. So three of them I thought were like, to good to I'm hopeful, and three of them I was like, oh yeah, like I can't wait. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's my commentary on the trailers that we got during the Superb Owl, and hope you enjoyed this episode of the Far Out Podcast, and I hope you're looking forward to these movies. And if so, then I will see you at the movies, and I will see you next time on the podcast. All right, bye bye.